All right. It's Wednesday. Welcome to another class of Increase. I'm Blake Anderson. Just some housekeeping notes. If you happen to be watching live on YouTube, you'll see in the chat, I've dropped a Zoom link in there. I'm also here live on Zoom. If anyone wants to participate in this class, there's a passcode to get in. After the class is over, I'll stick around till 8 o'clock or so. This is Wednesday, the 25th. You can get on the call. We can talk more about the lesson tonight and how you can apply it in your life, and maybe some personal circumstances or issues that you might be dealing with. So I hope you'll join me there on Zoom. So welcome to this weekly Increase class, Manage Energy for Increase. I'm Blake Anderson. So I just really appreciate everybody joining me on this class. We have been marching through our class of Increase as we have been working on the internal game, probably for a month and a half now, going on 2 months, really working on developing our character for Increase, really learning how to hone our efforts in to pursue more in life, that we might get better results. And we're going to start a shift in our classes as we're going to start moving into leadership. I truly believe that if you're going to study one thing in 2023 to help increase your results and increase your life, that one thing would be leadership. No one will ever do anything truly great by themselves. The Bible says that we are the body of Christ, that we are knit together with our different gifts. And I believe that with any great man or woman who's been known on the earth and throughout history, behind any one of those figures was a great team, and they got there through their ability to lead that team. So in pressing into leadership, though, to really become a great leader, you first have to learn to lead yourself. And we've already been working on that. So if you've been following our class over the last couple of months and you've been digging into the content and material, then you are already on that path of learning how to lead yourself. And it's not until after we can effectively lead ourselves that we can lead others. Because let's face it, would you really trust your life or your decisions in the hands of someone who didn't trust themselves? And that's really what it is. If we can't lead ourselves, then we don't really trust ourselves. And should anyone trust us? So we're going to press into that. We're going to weave in some personal productivity as we become effective leaders, as we become effective in the things that we pursue and the things we do, so that we can have the results that we want. So the things that we try in life will work. So tonight's class is Manage Energy for Increase. And this is really the first part of 2 parts that will kind of work together. And tonight, as we talk about managing our energy, we're going to talk about managing our physical energy, managing our emotional energy, our mood, and how those are so important for our ability to increase. We're going to walk away with this class with some practical how-tos, some things that we can start doing immediately tonight, things we can start doing tomorrow morning to start seeing immediate results and how we feel about ourselves. And then, as we know, we learned a couple classes ago that your external results are the product of your internal reality. So these are some things that will begin to change your internal reality immediately, and you will watch and see your external results begin to respond. So we're going to manage our energy, our physical energy, our emotional energy. And then the next week, we're going to really dig into managing our energy and managing our calendar, managing our day-to-day, so that we get the most out of the energy that we have. You'll see there's certain people that you know in life who are really effective, and they seem to have a way to get more done than other people. How do they do that? Well, if you've ever wanted to know how the most productive, how the most effective people in your life get so much done, then tonight and next week are really going to dig into probably some of those secrets that you're wondering, what are they doing that I'm not? What do they know that I don't? And I hope between tonight and next week that you'll start to be one of those people, that you'll learn a couple of those secrets, that you'll have a couple of those techniques up your sleeve, and you'll start to get more done. You'll start to have higher energy, and people around you will begin to see you, respond to you as someone that can get things done, someone that can drive results. So tonight we're talking about managing your energy for increase. You can see the board behind me. I've got our journey mapped out ahead of us. And, you know, this is a journey that I have been on for many, many years. I've learned many, many things, but I continue to be on. You never really stop learning, especially when it comes to personal leadership and it comes to personal effectiveness. There's always more to who you are. As you become more on the inside, you start to see more on the outside, and then you have higher levels, higher challenges require even more from you. So let me start by telling a story. I don't know how old you are, but I remember when I was in my late 20s, and I didn't want to grow up. I lived my 20s and in my late 20s and really to my early 30s, trying to live about like I lived in college. And in college, I went to bed at 4 a.m. I drank a lot of alcohol. I slept really late through the whole morning. I got up just in time to get to a class or to a job, and I made no real time for making myself better, but fought for every extra minute I could find for personal pleasure, personal enjoyment, and for fun. And I couldn't quite figure out why I wasn't getting ahead in life. You see, I got married, fell in love in college, got married at 25, started a business that year, had my own business, and finally didn't have to work for the man, quote unquote. But it took me many years to figure out why I wasn't an automatic success. But now I can look back and realize my life was completely out of rhythm. I didn't understand how to manage energy, and I was focusing on all the wrong things. My attention was on my joy and my pleasure, but not on my success. So even through my 20s, I owned a business, and I would get up at 8:15 in order to leave out of the house by 8:30 so that I could start work at 8:45. Every night we ate dinner at probably 8, 9 o'clock at night. We'd start the movie at 9 or 10 on a weeknight. We'd have ice cream at probably 10:30, 11 o'clock, and 12, 12:30, maybe 1, we'd go to bed. And that was our life. And even in the weekends, it got even worse. The week was just to get me through the weekend. And my weekends were about staying up really late, drinking lots of alcohol, sleeping really late in the morning, starting that routine all over again. And though I was self-employed and working really hard and had employees, things weren't really working. I wasn't increasing, but I didn't understand that my rhythm was completely off. I was living a life that couldn't increase. I didn't have the foundation under me that could really increase. And it wasn't until everything fell apart in my early 30s. My life completely fell apart. And it really was my own doing. But I felt God calling me out of my Egypt to follow him out into a desert place so that I might be stripped bare of all of my bad habits, so that I could truly learn how to live a life that increased. And one of the things I learned was how to manage my energy and how to get more out of every moment that I was given and how to get the most out of life. And hopefully you're thinking, yeah, I want more. More is possible for me. I have big hopes. I have big dreams. In order to get there, you're going to have to learn how to squeeze more juice out of that fruit. You're going to have find a way to get more out of every moment. You're going to have to find a way to get more effective. And to be more effective, you're going to have some really great energy. You're going to have the energy that perseveres. You're going to have the energy that leads people into better places. You're going to have the energy that gets results. And so we're going to focus on 3 things. The first thing we're going to talk about is diet. Then we're going to talk about rhythm. And then we're going to talk about routines. Now, here's a disclaimer up front. I'm not a dietitian. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a doctor. But I've learned a lot as I've tried to become healthy in my life, and I'm trying to get more. So there's a couple things I might share. Really, I'm going to spend most of my time talking about your routines, the things that you can change about the way you live your days that, believe it or not, will begin to change your results almost immediately and will absolutely change your quality of life, even in your lower situation. Even when you're decreasing, you can change the quality of your life right now just with your routines. So let's talk about diet to start. So some of you might go to church with me, House of Prayer Ministries International in Durham, North Carolina. And we decided as a church, our pastors asked those of us at the beginning of the year if we would join them for a 21-day Daniel fast. And a Daniel fast, for those of you who don't know, and some of you watching might be shaking your head and laughing, a Daniel fast is when you cut your diet down to basically fruits and vegetables only. So you're removing meat, you're removing caffeine, you're removing dairy, you're removing eggs, you're removing sugar, and you're down to just vegetables and fruit, maybe some whole grains. Hopefully you're not eating bread and you're not having sugar. And that diet is called a fast because the book of Daniel, Daniel has been set aside to become a leader of his people. And he's given what's declared at that time as the best food in the land. And he looks at it and says, I can't eat that. Now, the person in charge of Daniel said, well, you better eat it because I'm going to lose my job. I'm responsible to make sure that you guys in this training program are the best of the best. So this is special food that only the king gets to eat. And Daniel looks at it. He knows that ain't on my diet. That ain't going to work for me. And so Daniel makes a deal with him. He's like, listen, all I eat is pulse, meaning fruits and vegetables. Let me do my diet. You come back in 10 days and check on me and see how I'm doing and see if I'm not smarter and stronger than everybody else around me. And then we'll talk. Well, lo and behold, he comes back for 10 days. He comes back 10 days later and finds out that Daniel is the wisest and Daniel looks the best. He has the best complexion and is in the best shape. So we in the church, we call it a Daniel fast because we're giving up things that we're not used to, that we're used to eating. But really, Daniel was on his normal diet. He was on a diet for success. Daniel was eating for optimal energy. Daniel was eating a whole foods diet. Daniel knew that heavy food weighed him down. Daniel understood that clean fruits and vegetables would keep him clear in his thinking, would give him good optimal energy. Daniel probably understood that honey and lots of sugar would not be as good for his energy as some people might think. And so if you haven't started to experiment with diet, it's probably about time you look into it. I'm gonna give you a harsh reality right now. If you happen to be in your late 20s and your early 30s, when you hit 40 in your late 30s, if you're still eating the Babylonian diet, the SAD diet, the standard American diet that's full of fats and trans fats and lots of sugar and brownies and candy like I was doing in my 20s and my 30s, then what's waiting for you at the end of your 30s and your early 40s is health problems that you didn't see coming. It's health problems that didn't happen from one moment. These are digestive issues, low energy, sleep disorders, things that happen from a lifetime of a bad lifestyle. And I was a victim of that as well. I got to a point in my mid 30s that I could not eat a meal without eating 2 Tums after it. We ate Tums like they were candy. I got to a point where I would eat Tums before the meal and Tums after the meal. I would have to eat Tums before I go work out because my diet was so full of poison, of toxins, of sugar, that it was tearing my guts apart. And it will wreak havoc on so many other things that will show up in life. So now's about the time, if you happen to find yourself and you haven't experienced any maladies in your health yet, it's time to start really looking at an effective diet for long-term success and feeling really good. Now, here's the beautiful thing. I've been on this Daniel fast now. It's, I guess it's over 2 weeks. I've never felt so good in my life. Hopefully, if you're going to my church, you're watching this video, you feel exactly the way I do. I feel so great. Now, one thing I wanted to focus on for you to really connect the dots. I read a book a couple of years ago when I did the Daniel fast by a man named Mark Sisson, and it was called The Primal Blueprint. And Mark, though I don't believe he was a Christian, I really appreciate his philosophy. Mark said, of all of human history, our current diet is really pretty rare. For most of human history, humans ate very clean. They ate whole foods, plants, vegetables, and meat. They did not have a lot of the food inventions that we've created that have turned out to be extremely horrible for your health. Man-made food products and preservatives and food dyes. They ate things that were natural to this earth. God created things. And they were naturally healthy. They didn't have to go on special diets to be healthy. They were healthy. They ate healthy. Well, in this book, he maps out what that might look like and how to live that way today. But he explains something that really unlocked this energy thing for me. I don't know if you're anything like me, but my energy when I'm on the SAD diet and I am eating Snickers and candy spikes and crashes and spikes and crashes. And I have to maybe take a nap in the afternoon and things don't go for me all that well. I get tired almost immediately after my pancake breakfast, because when you eat high sugar, sugar spikes your bloodstream, which gives you a lot of energy at first, but then your body through your pancreas releases insulin, and insulin's job is to remove blood sugar out of your bloodstream. But when it does that, your energy level falls to the floor. And so when it falls to the floor, you get hangry and you get tired, and you go looking like, if you're like me, you go looking for a Snickers bar because it's going to get your blood sugar back up to where you need it to be, or you're going to look for a cup of coffee. But all that does is keep you on that roller coaster. And over time, it destroys your adrenals and it destroys your energy. So the last thing I want to say about your diet is long-term success and stable energy looks like a whole food diet that doesn't have a lot of sugar in it, that has a primary focus on fruits and vegetables and things that God made, not the things that man has invented for our taste buds. That's addicting. That's really bad for us. So step number one to manage your energy is manage your diet and think about when you eat. Last thing I'll say, and we'll talk more about this next week because it has to do with what we do when and during the day. If you eat a heavy lunch, likely after lunch, your afternoon is not going to be very productive because your energy is going to drop as all of the attention in your body goes to your stomach. Hopefully you are thinking about what I'm saying and realize heavy meals take your energy away. So if you're going to have an effective, productive day, you want to extend your morning as long as you can. And then if you've got work to do in the afternoon, then you should eat something that's not going to be heavy. It's not going to have a ton of sugar, probably won't have really heavy meat, but something that your body can process easy, that can keep your energy level stable. So that's what I'll say about the diet. Next point about managing your energy is something I didn't understand until just probably 5 or 6 years ago, is a rhythm. And the rhythm I'm talking about is a circadian rhythm. So maybe you've heard of this before, your circadian rhythm. And really, if you break that word, what it means, circa means near, dian means day. So it's a day, the daily rhythm, the rhythm of 24 hours. And our circadian rhythm on this planet has everything to do with that big ball in the sky, the sun. The sun creates the rhythm for our body. And here's the beautiful, interesting thing is God created our body as a perfect match to that sun. And our body requires that sun to be fully functioning and for all of our systems to work well, including our energy. Now, in your body, which the part of your body that's responsible for your energy is your mitochondria. So in your body, you have your cellular level, but inside and below every cell is the mitochondria. And this is the energy, these are the energy forces and centers of your body, and they convert the food we eat into energy. Now, your mitochondrial function is dependent on the sun, and it is dependent on the circadian rhythm. Now, here's some really important things that 2,000 years ago, people did not need to know because they lived in rhythm, but today could not be more critical for you to understand for quality health and strong energy. And that is, your energy is going to be dictated and come from the sun. And you're saying, how is that possible? Well, here's the thing. The light frequency of the sun changes throughout the day based on where the sun is in the sky. And here's the interesting thing. That light frequency based on where it is in the sky is telling your body what it's time to do. So that in the early morning, you have a red light. It was a very healing, restorative light, and it rejuvenates and gets that mitochondria functioning early in the morning. As the sun rises, the light turns blue. It's actually, even though it's blue, we think cool, it's actually super hot and the frequency is really high. And about the time it's noon, It's the blue light, and it's telling our body to do certain things. And then towards the end of the day, it gets red again. And when it gets red again after that blue spectrum, it's telling your body it's time to wind down. It's time to do the things your body can only do at night. Well, here's the important thing what you have to really know, and maybe you've heard this already. Your smartphone and all of our LED lights around us are blue light. And so though it's 7:21 outside and it's really dark outside, this blue light that I'm looking at right now on this screen that I'm looking at are telling my body that it's noon. Right now, my body should be winding down, and I should be allowing it to restore itself, things it can only do while it's sleeping. But right now I'm not, because I'm telling my body it's noon. So it's not time for you to do that. So I'm not giving my body the proper time that it needs to really repair itself. And if I'm looking at this blue light all the time, I am confusing my circadian rhythm, which means I'm confusing my mitochondria, and I am confusing my energy and how it works with inside my body. Now, if you would have told me this when I was in college, I would have shut the video off right now, and I hope that you don't, because I was a night owl and I stood up till 4 a.m. and I loved it, and that was what was easy for me. But let me tell you what happens naturally in your body if you'll get yourself off that rhythm. My wife grew up off the grid, no electricity, no running water. We would go visit her mom, who still lived that way. God rest her soul, she's not living anymore, but she continued to live that way until she died. And when we would go visit her, this was long before smartphones, but still, we'd go out there and there's only candlelight, and there was no overhead lights, and there was no TVs. And I'm used to watching movies every night, having the lights on, and we'd go out there and all there was candlelight and firelight. And come 7:30, it was time for bed. I couldn't keep my eyes open because that light frequency was gone, and it was telling my body it's not time to be awake. It's time to wind down. So understanding your circadian rhythm, and I understand it's going to be hard to get it all right at first, but really keeping your mind on your circadian rhythm and how it affects your energy. And so some other things you can do that affect your energy when it comes to that circadian rhythm is your light, being conscious about daylight. And some of it is going outside, getting your eyeballs into the sun. Yes, you should look into the sun, seeing the light and allowing the sun to show you what time it is. Sleep is really important for your circadian rhythm, and trying to match your sleep with the sun and matching your sleep so that you are getting plenty of sleep and that you're getting up to see the morning light. You're in fresh air is super important for the oxygen you need in your body to have vitality and energy. Now, I want to add another point about diet and when it comes to eating. Here's a really quick point when it comes to your circadian rhythm. Comes to eating is in your energy. They did some studies. Optimal eating window every day is 8 to 10 hour period that you would eat, and then you would take the other 16 hours, 16 to 14 hours, and not eat. And here's the experiments and what this has shown. They gave mice food, and they allowed some mice to eat all day long, and other mice they kept to a schedule. And the mice they allowed to eat all day long, they gave them a perfect diet, a really good diet. And a mice that could eat for 15 to 18 hours a day gained weight, no matter how good the diet was. The mice that ate a mediocre diet but was only allowed 8 to 10 hours a day stayed at an optimal weight because it was in rhythm. It was in rhythm with the circadian rhythm and with its energy. So I want you to keep that in mind. Sometimes our diet is not just about what we eat, but when we eat it. And we will experience energy that gives us vitality and allows us to be more effective at what we're doing. And it's not a small thing. It's not a small thing. Plan your meals around the things that you have to accomplish. Watch your energy change your mood. Watch your mood change your results. So the last thing that I want to get into in this class, and this is where I hope you'll take notes and things that you can immediately start doing tomorrow, is routines. This is a seemingly small thing that is a actually very large lever that starts changing results immediately. And your daily routine really starts at night. It starts at night with what time that you decide to shut everything off and how you decide to go to sleep. Your sleep will affect your next day. So the night before really starts to set the tone for the next day. So if I want to have success tomorrow, I'm going to plan my night like this. Ideally, I'm going to shut my blue light off and that phone off before I go to bed. I'm going to stop eating long before I go to bed. Your sleep will be much better if you're not trying to digest the late night snack when you go to bed. So don't eat right before bed. Allow your body time to digest fully so that when you rest, your body's not giving all of its attention to digestion. At that point, you want your body to be given to rejuvenation of cells and all the things that it can only do at night. But if you're digesting, it can't do that because it's digesting. So stop eating, give yourself time to digest, turn the blue lights off and all the stimulation, and give your mind a time to have some peace, to have some calm before you go to sleep. It's a great time to talk to your spouse, to think about your day. And one of the most important things is you want to go to sleep happy and encouraged. Do not go to sleep mad. Do not go to sleep sad. Do not go to sleep in the middle of an argument with your spouse. You will not sleep as well, and it will carry over into the very next day. But if you want good restorative sleep, you will program this sleep through deciding what to think about or what not to think about. So one thing I'll mention more next week, but a small thing I found that's really powerful in having a great night's sleep is before I go to bed, at the end of every workday, I do a daily dump. A daily brain dump. I write everything on my to-do list because you will plague your sleep if you are trying to solve your work problems while you're sleeping. Don't do that. You won't sleep that well. You want your sleep to be free. You want it to be easy. You want it to be rejuvenating. You want to go to sleep with a smile on your face. You want there to be peace because peace is the atmosphere of healing. It's the atmosphere of rejuvenation. So get all of your thoughts out of your brain. Write them all down. This is a very simple but very powerful thing to do at the end of every day. Put it on a piece of paper because here's the interesting thing is, though you haven't solved the problem, just by writing those things on a piece of paper, your brain can rest because your brain is actually most concerned about whether you're going to forget something or not. But if you write it down, you're not going to forget it because it's already written down where it needs to go. So write everything down. Then you don't have to worry about it anymore. It will be there for tomorrow. So your day starts the night before. The next thing is you want to go to sleep with an intention that the next day will be good and that waking up is something that you want to do. See, the most powerful thing that I've started doing probably in the last 5 years is I changed my morning routine. But the morning routine starts the night before with what I've said. But so there's a book written by Hal Elrod. This one's called The Miracle Morning Millionaire, but it's called The Miracle Morning. Hal Elrod wrote a book about morning routine, and it is a worldwide phenomenon. And the testimonies and stories from people who have implemented this miracle morning routine, which I'm about to teach you, are rather amazing. And I am a living testimony that it will change your life. And Hal says there's five tricks to being able to get up, because if you're like I was in my late 20s and 30s and not till 5 years ago, I hated getting up in the morning. I hated it. It was the worst part of the day. And so I would set my alarm for 6 and I would snooze till 7:30 because I couldn't stand getting up. So he says there's 5 tricks. So write these 5 things down, because if you'll get up early tomorrow, you'll find that your day will be so much better than you ever planned. But the 5 things that you want to do is, first, tonight, before you go to bed, set an intention before you go to sleep saying, I'm excited to get up in the morning. Make that a priority. I'm excited to get up in the morning. See, here's the thing. Once you get used to getting up in the morning, it's the best time of the day and you'll love it more than any other time of day. But start by saying, I'm excited to get up in the morning. The second thing you've got to do is you have to put your alarm in the other room. The alarm has to be in the other room. So we don't keep clocks in our room because I don't want the light waking me up when I wake up. So my alarm is my phone. Maybe yours is too. So before I go to bed, I put my alarm on airplane mode. One second here. So when I go to sleep, I put my alarm on airplane mode so no one can bother me. I don't want any dings in the middle of the night. Then I go to my alarm and I set my alarm, and it goes in the other room, so that in order for to turn it off, I have to get out of bed and I have to go get it. Now, here's the cool thing. Once you've gotten out of bed and you've walked across into a whole nother room, you're already kind of awake, and it's a lot harder to hit snooze and go back to bed. So that's step 2, alarms in the other room. Step 3, brush your teeth. Brush your teeth. He's got some reasons about brushing teeth, kind of gets you moving, gets you active. But another thing about brushing your teeth is you just start to feel awake. The mint freshness of your toothpaste just makes you feel awake, and you start to feel like you're ready for the day. Step 4, drink a big glass of water. So you've been sleeping for 8+ hours, you're dehydrated. So drink a big glass of water. And step 5, get dressed to work out. Because we're going to find one of the secrets to the miracle morning is exercise. So I I put my phone in my bathroom, and I lay out my workout clothes on a bench in my bathroom before I go to sleep. So when I wake up, I walk in the other room, I turn it off, I use the bathroom, I brush my teeth, and I put my exercise clothes on. I do that all within a matter of a minute and a half of getting up. And now I'm ready to start my day. So those are the 5 tips. What the secret sauce to the miracle morning after these 5 tips is the activities that Hal did. So you should read the book, The Miracle Morning. It's a short book. It's well worth your time. But Hal Elrod was encouraged by a mentor to get a morning routine and to get up earlier. And so he went on a search to try to find the best morning routine. And he found so many things, and he compiled them into this master list of morning routines. And if you watch the success community long enough, and you hear many people who've been really successful or teach leadership and success, undoubtedly they're always asked about what's your morning routine look like. If you want to make it super simple, the morning routine is about starting your day on your terms, plain and simple, that you would start your day feeling empowered and in control. That's the goal. The morning routine is to feel empowered and in control. And I found that takes some time, that getting up just in time to get my clothes and rush out the door is not enough time. But taking the time to do these things I'm going to walk you through will absolutely empower you, and you will feel in control. And it's amazing that when you start your day on your terms from the beginning, how the rest of the day falls right into place. But if you're like I was, and I never had a morning routine, I also lived a life where I always was behind, and I was playing catch up all day long. And I never seemed to quite catch up because I didn't have control over my day. But just making an effective morning routine can change all that. Yes, you can do it, night owl. Yes, you can do it, chronic snoozer. I was like you. So what's it look like? What's the morning routine look like? So he's got an acronym. He calls the SAVERS. So you can see behind me on this board. So the SAVERS stand for, you don't have to do it in this order per se, though this order works really well. But it begins like this. So the first S is for silence. And so silence encapsulates a few things, and you make it personal to you. So that would be meditation, prayer, gratitude, deep breathing. I normally do a variety of those things depending on the day. So we want to start in silence. And one of the most important reasons is when you wake up, your body is got cortisol hormone, which is running through your veins, and you're also using the part of your brain that's the amygdala, that's fight or flight. And so you actually wake up kind of anxious and nervous because, you know, it's the survival mechanism kicking inside of you. Well, silence has a way of quieting that down so that now you can be in control. All right, the A is affirmations. Affirmations are super powerful. If you don't use affirmations, I would encourage you to start. And your affirmations are a way that you begin to program and seed your subconscious mind with the goals that you are trying to accomplish. And affirmations need to be first person I statements, and I recommend that they have an am. I am. And so you are affirming the goal that you are trying to accomplish as if it's already happened. And you are programming your subconscious mind. You are renewing your mind, as Paul said in Romans chapter 12, to God's perfect will for your future. So affirmations. The V is visualization. We've talked about that in previous lessons about the importance of having a vision and writing your vision. Maybe you have a vision board, but essentially visualization is time that you set aside when you think about your goals, the things you're trying to accomplish in life, and you visualize yourself living them out as if they're already done. And you want to live them out, and you want to feel the emotions of joy, of accomplishment, of satisfaction. So you want to visualize those goals. Some of them might be way out in the future, and some of them might be things that you're working on right now. The E is exercise. Exercise every day. Listen, you may not have time every day to go to the gym or do a whole hour-long intense cardio workout, but every day, move your body. So I normally work out 3 to 4 times a week, and the other days I just take a walk. I get outside in the fresh air, no matter how cold it is, and I take a walk, and I get fresh air moving, and I get my blood flowing, and it starts to clear my thoughts. And it's amazing how good you feel when you come back from exercising and how much more empowered you feel about your day. The R is reading. So every morning I read some portion of my Bible. And I normally try to read. I also have a book I'm reading. So it's a leadership book, a book on business, some type of personal development book. Set aside time to read. And the final one is scribing or journaling. Journaling, if you don't do it, is such a powerful way to collect your thoughts and to put them on paper. And so, here's my journal. Every morning, I've been doing this for probably 15 years now. I read my Bible and I write in my journal. And it is amazing how empowered you feel when you've collected your thoughts or you've written your prayers and you've empowered yourself with the Word of God or a book that you are wanting to read. So write this down: savor, silence, affirmation, visualization, exercise, reading, scribing. It's a lot. It is. You're not going to get it done in 20 minutes. You're going to struggle to get it done in an hour. This is the kind of thing that really you should give yourself 2 hours every morning. And you might be thinking, oh my gosh, what time would I have to get up? Well, I get up at 5 so I can get all this done before I wake the kids up at 7. And I see them off to school at 8 and I start work at 8. So I'm up 3 hours before I even have to start work. But here's the thing. You can either save those 3 hours till later and watch Netflix and scroll TikTok and get on Instagram. Or you can take those 3 hours and you can put them in the beginning of the day. And you can start living your day on your terms. And you can start walking into every day empowered. You can start walking into the day more powerful than the day before. And you can start seeing your results change. So really the question you have to ask yourself is, what do I want more? Do I want another night of a couple extra shows and some mediocre sleep so I can't wait, hoping to get to the weekend? Or do I want my goals? Do I want my dreams? Do I want the raise? Do I want a promotion? Because think about this. How much different is your day if you've done all these before you even start? You've gotten silence and you've gotten control on your internal world. You've affirmed yourself and who you're becoming. You've visualized success and the things that you want. You've exercised and got your blood flowing, so you have optimal brain energy. You've read something empowering and equipped yourself. And then you've journaled and written some of your thoughts. You will start to increase. You will become a savage, a boss. And things will immediately start changing. Here's the first thing that's going to change. You will feel incredible. You will feel incredible. You will feel better than any movie you could ever watch. You will feel better than sleeping in. It'll be hard to wake up to that alarm, but when you get done with this, you will feel so great. Now think about this. How much further along are you if you do these every day before you start work versus me if I just get up in time to get to work, and then as soon as I get off, my focus is on my TikTok, my Facebook, and my Netflix. Who's going to get further down the path, right? So that's really the question you got to ask yourself. How far do I want to go? What kind of life do I really want? Because if you're watching this class, then you got to be someone like me who has big dreams, who has big aspirations, who knows that you were created for more, who knows that God's got a plan for your life, who has prophetic dreams and visions of great things and being part of those and being a leader. Well, to get there, you're going to have to become that leader, and you're going to have the right type of energy to be able to push those things out there. So this is the part one of managing your energy. It's managing the physical side of it. And what you've got to know that you should not discount is your physical energy will absolutely dictate your mood and how you feel about yourself and how possible you feel like life is. And so if you will get your physical energy feeling good through the things that you eat, through the rhythm and living in rhythm with sleeping at the right times and eating at the right times and living a balanced lifestyle and rhythm with the creation, this planet that you live on, that's so dependent on the sun, like you're dependent on it too. And you will have a life that's empowered by a routine that gets you good rest and sets you up for success the next day, even before the day starts. You know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen if you do it. Your mood's going to change. Things are going to be possible again. And the doors of increase are going to begin to open before you. And you're going to start experiencing a whole new life. So join me next week, part 2 of managing your energy. We're going to start getting into the nitty-gritty of how do you plan your day for maximum increase, because there's a way to do it. And there's a way to start planning your day so that you can get more done than people think is possible. That people think there's multiple people doing your job. So I hope you join me next week. So if you're on YouTube, watching the YouTube live, the Zoom link is in the chat. Join us over on Zoom. I'm going to cut the feed. I'll join the folks here on Zoom, and we can stick around.